The screens were flashing red, and the empire Ethan Cole had built for years was collapsing in seconds. Every deal, every investment, every fortune he had earned was vanishing before his eyes. Outside, the city pulsed with life, indifferent to the downfall of a billionaire. And then, in the quiet of his office, a janitor appeared, the last person he ever expected, ready to change everything. Ethan paced the floor of his penthouse office, glass walls reflecting the lights of New York like mocking eyes. 15 years of relentless work, of sleepless nights and ruthless decisions were evaporating before him. Alerts blared, data breached, accounts deleted. His company, Cole Global Enterprises, was falling apart in real time. The $10 billion merger he had been chasing for months, the deal that could secure his empire for the next decade, was slipping through his fingers with every passing second. He had sent everyone home hours ago. His team of engineers and executives were helpless, their faces etched with fear. Alone, Ethan felt the crushing weight of failure settle over him like a storm cloud. And then, he heard it. Soft footsteps on the polished corridor, punctuated by the squeak of a cleaning cart. A woman appeared at the edge of the doorway. She was dressed in a standard blue janitorial uniform, hair neatly tied back, eyes gray and calm, scanning the chaos on his monitors. Ethan froze, unsure whether to be angry, confused, or desperate enough to listen. "Are you okay, sir?" she asked gently, her accent soft, melodic. "Spanish?" Ethan muttered under his breath, a bitter laugh escaping him. "Define okay. My company is dying in front of me." Her gaze flicked to the screens, unshaken. "That's a cyber attack," she said, matter-of-factly. Ethan turned to her, incredulous. The woman mopping his floors, the one everyone ignored, was diagnosing the disaster that had left even his top engineers stumped. May I take a look?" she asked, her voice calm but confident. Ethan blinked. He wanted to laugh at the absurdity of it, yet there was something in her eyes, something that made him step aside. "Knock yourself out," he said, handing her the reins to the fate of his empire. She introduced herself simply, Leila Rivera. Fingers flying over the keyboard, she navigated through layers of code and hidden directories Ethan didn't even know existed. "Your backup servers, are they linked to the mainframe?" "No," Ethan replied, unsure why he trusted her instantly. "Good, that's your miracle," she said, and the air in the office shifted. Lines of code scrolled across the monitors like lifelines, slowly stitching his crumbling empire back together. For the first time that night, hope flickered in Ethan's chest. Hours passed as Leila worked tirelessly. Cold coffee sat forgotten on the desk. When the clock neared 3 a.m., the red alerts blinked out, directories restored, systems rebooted. Ethan barely dared to breathe. "It's real?" he asked, staring at the screens in disbelief. She smiled faintly. "Your empire's breathing again, Mr. Cole. Just needed a little CPR." Ethan laughed, shaky, relieved, and a little humbled. "How do I even thank you?" "Just fix what's broken outside the system too," she replied, eyes gleaming with quiet determination. As dawn spilled over Manhattan, the network flashed a single line, "System restored successfully." Ethan sat silently, stunned. Leila leaned back, exhaustion mingling with quiet pride. "No," she said softly, "we are alive again." The following morning, Cole Global Enterprises hummed with the illusion of normalcy. Employees whispered in hushed tones as Ethan walked past, his usual air of untouchable confidence replaced by something heavier, something reflective. They had no idea what had happened overnight, only that their company had survived what should have been a catastrophic collapse. Ethan called an emergency meeting with his senior staff, the sunlight slicing through the glass walls of the boardroom. His team filled in, eyes curious, wary, unsure what to expect. "I want to introduce someone," Ethan said, his voice steady but carrying the weight of last night's miracle. "This is Leila Rivera. Without her, none of this would exist right now." A ripple of shock passed through the room. The woman in the same blue uniform from the night before lowered her eyes, hands clasped together, silently aware of the tension her presence had created. Ryan Matthews, Chief Technology Officer, crossed his arms, disbelief etched into his face. "You're saying that Janitor fixed what an entire department couldn't?" Ethan met his gaze without flinching. "That's exactly what I'm saying. Starting today, Leila will lead a new cybersecurity division. She answers directly to me." The room went silent. Whispers began to swell into murmurs, suspicion and awe intermingling. Ryan's jaw tightened, but he did not argue openly. Ethan had made his decision. Later that afternoon, Leela returned to the office, no longer pushing a cleaning cart, no longer unnoticed. She wore a new badge, identifying her as an engineer. Those who had ignored her now stepped aside, uncertainty and newfound respect flickering in their eyes. Yet despite her calm demeanor, she felt the invisible weight of expectations settle on her shoulders. Everyone was watching, waiting for her to fail. Ethan met her at the top floor, a faint smile crossing his face. "Ready for round 2?" he asked. "Always," she replied, nodding once, determined. He led her through the gleaming glass corridors to a small room adjacent to his office. "This is where you will work," he said. "And Leela, thank you again." "You don't need to thank me," she replied softly. "Just don't lose faith when things get hard." He smiled faintly, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. "I've already learned that from you." Days passed in a blur of codes, firewalls, and encryption protocols. Leela rebuilt Cole Global's digital infrastructure from the ground up, implementing new systems, training a loyal team, and plugging every hole the cyber attack had exposed. The company's recovery made headlines. Investors returned, clients praised resilience, and for the first time in weeks, Ethan felt a spark of confidence. But beneath the surface, something gnawed at Leela. Strange digital signatures appeared, faint pings and encrypted transmissions moving to unknown servers. Someone was still inside. The threat hadn't ended. One evening, long after the office emptied, Leela reviewed the logs, tracing anomalies with meticulous precision. Ethan arrived quietly, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "I figured you'd still be here," he said softly. "Something's off," Leela murmured, pointing at the screen. "These signatures match the ones from the attack, but now they're coming from inside our network." Ethan's jaw tightened. "You mean someone in the company?" "Yes," she said, her tone steady. "And whoever it is, they know this system too well." For the first time, the magnitude of the situation dawned on Ethan. The cyber attack was only the beginning. Someone within his empire had betrayed him, and now they were watching, calculating, waiting for the right moment to strike again.
The next morning, Cole Global Enterprises felt deceptively calm. From the outside, the company seemed to have survived its worst nightmare. Yet inside, Ethan and Lila knew the real danger had just begun. The mysterious intrusions in the network hadn't stopped. They had only shifted, growing more sophisticated, more deliberate. Lila spent hours tracing each digital footprint, her fingers flying over the keyboard as lines of code scrolled past like a living map. Every anomaly, every unauthorized access was a breadcrumb leading somewhere. Slowly, a pattern emerged. Late-night logins under administrative credentials, falsified access permissions, and files that seemed deliberately misplaced. The more she examined the data, the more one name kept surfacing. Ryan Matthews, the same CTO who had doubted her the day before. Her pulse quickened. She had suspected his hostility was more than professional jealousy, but now she had proof. Someone within the company had orchestrated the attack from the inside, and Ryan's fingerprints were all over it. But she didn't act rashly. She knew revealing him too soon could tip him off. That evening, she walked into Ethan's office, a flash drive clutched in her hand. "We need to talk," she said, her voice calm but carrying a quiet urgency. Ethan gestured for her to proceed. She plugged the drive into his computer. The logs filled the screen: unauthorized access, data deletion, and covert transfers. Ryan used his credentials to manipulate sensitive information during the breach, Lila explained. "He was our entry point." Ethan's face darkened as he absorbed the evidence. "Are you absolutely sure?" "Yes, I double-checked the metadata. He tried to cover his tracks, but not well enough," she replied. Ethan rose, pacing the office. "If this leaks now, we'll lose everything again. The board will panic, investors will pull out, and the press will tear us apart." "Then we don't leak it yet," Lila said. Her eyes glinted with determination. "We let him think he's still safe. I need time to trace who he's working for." Ethan stopped, studying her. "That's dangerous. So was trusting me the first night," she replied with a faint smile. "But you did." Over the next few days, Lila set up a silent digital game of cat and mouse. She created decoy databases, dummy systems, and false trails, all designed to expose Ryan without tipping him off. Every keystroke he made, every file he accessed, revealed more about his methods. Lila barely slept, driven by a mixture of professional focus and a growing sense of personal resolve. Soon, it became clear that Ryan wasn't acting alone. Someone higher up had orchestrated the attack, someone with far more influence and reach than a single disgruntled CTO. The stakes were higher than Ethan or Lila had imagined. One late night, Lila's phone buzzed with an unknown number. A message appeared. "Stop digging or you'll regret it." She froze, staring at her reflection in the dark office window. Calm, composed, yet defiant, she forwarded the message to Ethan and locked her phone. Seconds later, he called, his voice sharp with concern. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," she said firmly, "but this proves we're close. They're watching us." Ethan exhaled slowly. "Then we stay ahead of them." The next morning, Lila noticed something alarming in the parking garage, a small black device taped under her car bumper. She crouched and discovered a GPS tracker. Her chest tightened. Whoever was behind this knew where she lived, where she went, every move she made. She took it straight to Ethan. "We need to call the police," he said, horrified. "Not yet," Lila replied, her voice unwavering. "If we alert them, the people behind this will vanish. We need them to think I'm still unaware. We're setting a trap." That night, they stayed late in the office. Lila worked diligently at her desk, pretending to be absorbed in a dummy file filled with fake data. Ethan watched from his office, the shadows stretching across the glass walls like a silent witness. At 11:40 p.m., the security cameras flickered. Someone was inside. The door opened. Ryan Matthews stepped in, carrying a folder, trying to appear casual. "Working late again, Lila?" he asked, a hint of forced ease in his voice. "Always," she replied, eyes fixed on her screen. Ryan moved closer, reaching for her mouse. "Funny, your job seems to involve digging into mine," he said with a smirk. "Don't touch that," she warned quietly. The light snapped on. Ethan stepped out from the shadows. "It's over, Ryan." Ryan froze, eyes darting between them. "You think you know what's going on? You have no idea," he sneered. "Coal Global sold its soul years ago. People like me don't burn, we profit." "You mean Neuroline Systems?" Lila said calmly. His silence confirmed her suspicions. "They paid you to destroy us." "Destroy? No, expose. You're pawns in a bigger game. You'll see soon enough." Ryan spat before storming out with his folder. Security pursued him, but by the time they reached the elevator, he had vanished. The cameras went dark seconds later. Lila clenched her fists. He knew how to kill the feeds. Ethan exhaled, his face grim. "We have to find him and whoever he's working for." Lila nodded. "We will, and we'll do it on our terms."
The city outside Coal Global Enterprises glittered with indifferent brilliance, unaware of the storm brewing within the glass walls. Inside, Lila Rivera and Ethan Morgan were no longer just fighting to save their company. They were fighting to expose a network of betrayal that stretched far beyond what they could have imagined. Lila had spent the past 3 nights tracing Ryan Matthews' digital breadcrumbs, her fingers leaving trails of determination across her keyboard. Every proxy, every falsified credential led her closer to the puppeteers orchestrating the attacks. And now, the final piece of the puzzle had revealed itself. Valerie Stone, Coal Global's CFO, had been funneling confidential data to Neuroline Systems through an external consulting firm called North Park. The realization hit Ethan like a punch to the chest. Valerie! He had trusted her, confided in her, believed in her loyalty, and she had been working against him from the very beginning. "We can't confront her yet," Lila murmured, eyes scanning the code for any sign of exposure. "We need absolute proof and the right moment." Ethan paced the office, tension coiling in his shoulders. "This could destroy us. If she catches on, then we bait her," Lila said firmly. "We give her the illusion of freedom while we watch her make every mistake." For 3 days, Lila meticulously crafted a digital trap, an isolated server mimicking Coal Global's financial system, filled with decoy files, fake transaction records, and hidden trackers. Every line of code was designed to lure Valerie into revealing herself without realizing it. On the 4th night, the ping came. Valerie's credentials logged into the fake system. Lila froze for a moment, confirming the data streams with meticulous precision. "She's here. She took the bait." Ethan grabbed his coat. "Then we end this tonight." They drove through the empty Manhattan streets, a tense silence filling the car. Every passing streetlight seemed like a witness to their mission. When they arrived at the address, a sleek glass office building in Lower Manhattan, the lights were still on, casting long shadows through the windows. Lila connected her laptop to the building's network from the lobby. The screen confirmed it. Valerie was logged in, fully engaged with the fake files. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Stay behind me," he said instinctively. "No," Lila said, her voice calm but unyielding. "We do this together." They ascended to Valerie's office, the hum of fluorescent lights mixing with the tension in the air.
Valerie looked up from her screen, perfectly composed as if she had been expecting them. "Ethan," she said smoothly, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "You shouldn't be here." Ethan stepped forward. "You sold us out. You sold me out." Valerie's smile never faltered. "I didn't destroy anything that wasn't already rotten. Neuroline offered me freedom, something you never gave me." "Freedom doesn't come from betrayal," Leela said calmly, standing beside Ethan. Valerie turned to her, eyes cold. "And you, Miss Rivera, the miracle worker? Don't you realize you're just a placeholder? When this is over, they'll forget you too." "I may be a placeholder, but I at least fight for something real. Everything you've done is recorded. The authorities will have the evidence in minutes." Valerie's expression faltered for the first time. "You think this ends with me?" she whispered. "There are people far more powerful than you can imagine." "Maybe," Ethan said, stepping forward with quiet authority. "But tonight, it ends with you." Within minutes, federal agents, accompanied by Ethan's legal team, arrived at the building. Valerie did not resist, her calm veneer finally cracking as she was escorted out. Before she left, she turned to Leela with a final warning. "Enjoy your victory while it lasts. Heroes always fall harder." The following morning, the media exploded with the story. Cole Global's CFO arrested for corporate espionage linked to Neuroline systems. Investors held their breath, but surprisingly, public sympathy leaned towards Ethan and his team. The company's transparency and courage in facing internal betrayal became a powerful narrative, and Cole Global's value surged overnight. Inside the office, Ethan found Leela in her workspace, packing up files. "Where are you going?" he asked, concerned. "For once, I'm going home," she said with a faint smile. "To sleep. Maybe even to remember what daylight looks like." Ethan chuckled softly. "You've earned it more than anyone." Leela paused. "I never planned to stay forever. I just wanted to fix what was broken." Ethan looked at her quietly. "Then maybe fix one more thing. Me." That evening, they stood together by the massive windows of Cole Global's top floor, the city skyline reflecting in their eyes. Ethan's voice was soft, carrying the weight of the night's events. "When I first met you, Leela, I thought you were just cleaning up my mess, but you were building something bigger, something I didn't even see." Leela smiled faintly, looking out over the city lights. "Sometimes it takes losing everything to remember what matters." "And what matters to you now?" he asked softly. "People who don't give up, even when it hurts." Months passed. Cole Global flourished under Leela's cybersecurity division. The old server room was renovated into the Rivera Innovation Lab, a living testament to her impact. Ethan walked her through the lab for the first time, seeing her reaction. "You didn't have to do this," Leela whispered. "I wanted to," he said, "because this company wouldn't exist without you. And maybe I wouldn't either." Leela laughed softly. "You're getting sentimental, Ethan." "Maybe," he said, pulling out a small box. "Or maybe I'm finally honest." He opened it, a ring catching the reflection of the server lights. "I've been fighting to tell you this. I don't want to lose you. Not as my engineer, not as my friend. I want you to stay because you choose to." Leela's eyes filled with emotion. "I chose this a long time ago," she said softly. "You just didn't notice," he said, slipping the ring onto her finger. "Then I'm finally paying attention," he whispered. The story of Cole Global's miraculous recovery spread far beyond Wall Street. But for Ethan and Leela, it was never about the numbers. It was about trust, courage, and the extraordinary people who appeared just when you need them most. That night, under the soft drizzle of New York, they walked out together. Ethan didn't think of stock prices or competitors. He thought only of Leela, the woman who had changed everything. "You know," Leela said with a faint smile, "miracles don't come from the sky. They come from people who refuse to quit." Ethan looked at her, voice low and certain. "Then you're the only miracle I'll ever need."
The morning sun cast golden light across Manhattan, and Cole Global Enterprises hummed with renewed energy. Employees moved with purpose, unaware of the night storm that had almost swallowed their company whole. The coffee machines hissed, phones rang with eager clients, and the once tense hallways were alive with cautious optimism. In the heart of it all, Ethan Morgan walked beside Leela Rivera, no longer a janitor, but the hero who had saved the company from ruin. The story of the past week had spread through whispers, emails, and eventually the media. Headlines praised the miraculous recovery of Cole Global Enterprises, highlighting courage, ingenuity, and relentless determination. Investors returned, clients renewed contracts, and the company's reputation, once teetering on the edge of collapse, surged higher than ever. But for Ethan, the numbers didn't matter. The miracle wasn't in the recovery, it was in the person who had made it possible. Leela stood in her newly assigned office, sunlight spilling across the sleek new desks and servers. The Rivera Innovation Lab, once the old server room, now gleamed with cutting-edge technology. She took a deep breath, letting the moment sink in. This was her victory, yes, but it was also a beginning. Ethan entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Morning," he said, his voice warm, breaking the silence. "Morning," she replied, smiling faintly. "Sleep well?" "For the first time in days," he admitted. "I slept thinking about how fragile everything is and how rare it is to find someone who makes it all matter again." Leela's eyes softened. "It's not about the fragility, Ethan. It's about choosing who you trust and what you fight for." He leaned against her desk, studying her with admiration and awe. "You've rebuilt more than servers, Ethan. You've rebuilt my belief in people, in this company, and in myself." The hum of the city seemed to pause for a moment as they shared a quiet glance. There was gratitude, respect, and a bond forged in fire and digital code. This wasn't just a professional victory, it was personal. Later that afternoon, Ethan gathered his senior team in the main conference room. The air was thick with anticipation, curiosity, and perhaps a little disbelief. He spoke with steady confidence, his voice carrying authority and warmth. "I want to formally recognize someone who saved us all when it seemed impossible." Heads turned and whispers filled the room. Leela Rivera. Without her, Cole Global Enterprises would not exist today. Applause erupted. Some colleagues who had once ignored her stared in awe, while others exchanged embarrassed glances. Leela, calm and composed, accepted the recognition with quiet dignity. She didn't need applause. She had already proven herself in the moment that mattered most. As the days passed, the company flourished. Leela built a formidable cybersecurity division, mentoring new recruits and implementing protocols that would ensure Cole Global would never again face such catastrophic vulnerability. The company regained client trust, investors cheered its resilience, and the press praised its transparency and leadership. But amid the professional triumph, Ethan and Leela shared quiet moments that few ever witnessed. In the evenings, they walked through the city streets, sharing laughter, coffee, and dreams. The skyline became a canvas for their newfound hope, reflecting the resilience and courage that had carried them through the darkest nights. One evening, as rain gently fell over Manhattan, Ethan took Leela's hand and led her to the rooftop of the Rivera Innovation Lab. Lights shimmered below, and the city stretched endlessly around them. He turned to her, eyes glinting with something more than gratitude. "You know," he said softly, "I've been thinking, saving something doesn't mean you own it. It means you care enough to fight for it. And I've been fighting to tell you this." He opened a small box, revealing a delicate ring that caught the reflection of the city lights. Leela gasped softly, tears welling in her eyes. "I don't want to lose you," he continued. "Not as my engineer, not as my friend. I want you to stay because you choose to." Leela smiled through her tears. "I chose this a long time ago," she said softly, slipping her hand into his. "You just didn't notice," he whispered, placing the ring on her finger. "Then I'm finally paying attention," he said with a smile, pulling her close. Months later, Cole Global stood stronger than ever. The Rivera Innovation Lab had become a symbol of resilience, innovation, and trust. Employees worked with renewed pride, knowing that ordinary courage had saved them all. Investors marveled at the company's turnaround, and the press called it a modern-day miracle. But for Ethan and Leela, it was never about the headlines. It was about trust, loyalty, and the extraordinary people who appear just when you need them most. They had lost everything, faced betrayal, and stared into the abyss, but they had emerged stronger, together. That night, as they walked out into the soft drizzle of New York, light shimmering around them, Ethan didn't think of stock prices, mergers, or market shares. He thought only of the woman beside him, the woman who had changed everything in seconds. "You know," Leela said with a faint smile, "miracles don't come from the sky. They come from people who refuse to quit." Ethan looked at her, voice low and certain. "Then you're the only miracle I'll ever need." And in the quiet hum of the city, amid lights and reflections, they walked on, together, stronger, and ready for whatever the world would throw at them next.